coolest things I managed to save up and purchase during the summer, during the pandemic, has to be this. This is a real leather journal. It's modeled after the journal that John Winchester and the Winchester brothers Sam and Dean use in Supernatural, minus the clipboard at the back, but that's okay. But I love this thing. I use it a lot. It's one of my prized possessions. I found a journal that looks like that. It looks like this for a long time. Didn't realize it was actual leather until I got it. I thought it, like I knew it was leather, I just thought it was like every other journal that you could get in a store, that it was like fake leather. I know companies do real leather, but this is real leather. It's written now, like, what's called, the back here has been broken in, like it's been bent and all that stuff, and I'm pretty sure the inside color is changing from like oils and all that stuff, and from like being used and all that fun stuff. But I can't wait to see what this looks like in a few years after being used. I love this thing. This has nothing to do with this. What's going on, guys? It is Elijah Fitz. Welcome back to Photo Fitz Citizen and My Story Unsolved podcast. Last segment, episode, part, story. I just had a little ramble discussion, I suppose. My apologies, I have a window open. It's humid in here. I like the cold. And I think I might be coming down with the cold, which is kind of hilarious. It's 2020. We're currently, actually at the time of filming it, it is Monday, I believe. Yeah, Monday, November 23rd. At midnight tonight, apparently, midnight tonight, which was a few hours ago. Apparently everything went into lockdown. It was at midnight at the end of the day. I don't know. Point is, Monday, November 23rd, Toronto's going into a second lockdown. It could be its third lockdown. I think if it's its third lockdown, oh dear God. I think we had a partial lockdown, but then cases went away. But now they're back. So now we're in a second lockdown. Oh, 2020 better not be hell. 2021 better not be hell. What am I talking about? You know, a lot of my depression and anxiety recently has stemmed from being confined into this little box over here in this room, in this house. And having to sit for 3 hours in front of a computer, in front of an iPad, for 3 hours, sometimes 3 hours, twice a day, so 6 hours in a day, doing online school, and then sitting for a bunch of hours doing school assignments. COVID sucks. COVID really sucks. And probably a lot of you guys are being tired of hearing people say how bad they have it when they don't. It's weird. It's like I've heard people say how bad they're having it, but then compared to the people who are actually getting sick, or the people who can't afford medical attention for it, it's strange. It's like, obviously I'm not going to tell people how to feel. I'm sure people who say they're having it bad I'm sure that's probably the case in their own way. I think everyone is dealing with it in their own way, and everyone's in a rough place at the moment. So to say that that people aren't having it bad, it's probably not that great of a thing to say. I don't know. Is someone shoveling outside my window? Why? It's like 5 in the morning. Why are you shoveling in the dark? Anyways, so it's COVID. We're going into second lockdown. Not sure when you guys will see or hear this, but at the time we're going into second lockdown. It's not that fun, to be honest. It really isn't. And I'll explain why. So, when all of this started, I was probably one of many people who thought, oh, it's only happening in this section of the world. No chance it's going to affect me. And then I got this email one day. School will be cancelled. No classes for 2 weeks. And then everything went online. And the economy overnight flopped on its head. And I was like, horrible fake crying insert right there. And I was like, oh, cool. I don't actually have to go down to my campus for like 3 hours twice a day or once a day anymore. 3-4 times a week. I can just sit at home and do online school. That's great. I didn't realize how stressful that would be. And boy, I was wrong. I was so wrong about it all. I was stupid and naive. I just turned 20. I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks after I turned 20, mid-March, when Toronto went into its first lockdown. And I remember the day I was at school, I had a meeting with people, with a teacher, and everything went to hell afterwards. So I remember sitting, talking with my teacher, and we both got the email at the same time. And I'm like, okay. And then as weeks went on, things started to just get worse. And it went from okay to, oh, will this be over next week? And it wasn't over the following week. And it progressively started getting worse and worse and worse. And then winter was over, and it was summer, and it was hot, and I couldn't even see my girlfriend. I couldn't go anywhere. And life immediately turned upside down. And I spiraled. When I say I spiraled, I meant I resorted to probably one of the most hardest habits of mine to break. And that is binge eating, stress eating. It's a habit that I have never been able to break. And it sucks, honestly, because at first it's like, oh yeah, I feel, okay, this is good, I like the sugar. And then what I call the aftertaste hits, and it's just like, I really don't feel good. So constantly eating things that are bad, eating out, excessively ordering food, and just being in an overall crappy mood every single day, for every single second of a day, and to sit there and watch it get worse. Life for me turned upside down, and I'm not saying, I know, oh, remind me to murder all the cars on the street. And it's not that, and I'm not trying to say that it was, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I spiraled. When I say I spiraled, obviously I said I binged eat. I got really depressed. And having dealt with bad depression and anxiety for most of my life since grade 6. So think about it, that's grade 1 to 5 here in Canada's elementary school. And then grades 6 to 8 are middle school. And then 9 to 12 is high school. And then you have college. From grade 6, the later half of grade 6, the beginning of grade 6 to the end of grade 12, I struggled with horrible depression. So that's 4 years for high school, 3, that's 7 years of dealing with depression. I graduated at the end of 2018 from high school. So I've been out of high school for 2 years. My anxiety started showing up, I believe, midway through grade 10. And it took a bit for me to admit that I knew it was there all along, but it really didn't start taking effect until more pressure got put on me. And here's why I say I've known it all. I think I've known it all along. When I was in grade 6 or 7, one of the two, my dad had gone away for a business trip, and my sister had made the move to Hamilton to go to McMaster University, and in the middle of class, I broke down. I broke down. Not entirely sure why it happened then and there, or what necessarily triggered me to break down. All all I know is I broke down. And it wasn't the greatest moment of my life because I broke down and then ended up crying. I think for I cried to the point where no tears were coming out because I was that dehydrated. My mom was working late hours. My sister was gone. My dad was gone. And I was like 10 or 11 at the time. And I had my first anxiety panic attack. And for whatever reason, we never went to get diagnosed as anxiety. Shortly after, I started shutting down. And when I say I shut down, I shut down. I isolated myself. I pushed people away. If I was upset, I would put my head down and I wouldn't talk, and I'd pretend I was in this little enclosed bubble that no one could see. And it wasn't that great. Because I pushed people away. And I'm pretty sure people thought I was insane and thought I was weird for that. But to be in that position that I never thought would ever happen to me, because I wasn't even aware that those things were a thing at the time. It didn't end greatly for me. And I kind of shut down for all of middle school. Didn't really talk to many people, didn't stop hanging out with people. And from what I was told when I was younger, very younger, like in elementary school and younger, I was a very, very happy, cheery, go-lucky kid. And just like that, I started to go down and push people out of my life. I didn't want people around. I wanted to be left alone. And I isolated myself. Come grade 11, switching schools, very anxious because I have to switch schools. Some people don't. I know some people travel around the world, I guess, and they have no choice but to constantly switch schools. But for me, the only time I switched schools was from elementary to middle school, and then grade 7 to grade 8. I actually did in a completely different place. But grade 9 and 10, I did in the same place where I did grade 8 because it was in middle school and high school in the same building. So I literally went to the classroom next door for high school for 2 years, and then I switched schools to a new school. And anyone that has to switch schools knows that is very anxious because you're leaving one place where you had friends, and now you're gonna have to make new friends, and you know no one. I had the benefit of knowing one person, which was Ryan, a good friend of mine. I knew him prior to switching schools because we went to school from grade 8 to 10. It was grade 8 to 9, and then he left for a year, and then we reunited when I ended up going to his school for grade 11 and 12. But I knew no one. And my first reaction to this is, okay, I seem to be very bad luck because people around me seem to constantly get hurt. I'll switch schools. But I'm not gonna make friends. And I'm gonna spend the next 2 years not getting to know anyone. And I only found out that it was very hard to do. And then there I was, standing in the middle of a room, doing a school project with someone who would go on to be my friend. And I would tell her the truth of why I was switching schools. And instead of pushing me away, she spent the time to get to know me. And now that person, who is now my best friend, someone that I owe my life to, I'm going on to 2 years of being in a relationship with this person. And that is probably, out of the 7 years of constant depression and constant anxiety, the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I never thought that would happen. Because from my point of view, I saw people with relationships and all that fun stuff. And yes, we didn't start the relationship until after we graduated. But regardless, nevertheless, that is something I never actually thought would ever happen. And I think a lot of people at a young age are like, relationships? Boyfriends? Girlfriends? Yeah, that's not gonna happen with me. Probably won't. No one's gonna like me. And then you get into a relationship and you're like, holy crap. There just might be hope. And you get a moment of happiness where everything's like balanced and all that fun stuff. And then life decides to be like, no, okay, time's up, time's over. Your happiness can just mosey on down the road, because now I'm gonna make your life a living hell. And for me, regardless, being happy in a relationship, still being happy in a relationship, that hasn't stopped my life from basically going bang, 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 and in some cases just being downright horrible. From my point of view, horrible. Other points of view, people may think I'm overreacting a little bit. Probably am. But this whole pandemic thing has just caused me to stress eat and be stuck in, like, it feels like I'm stuck in solitary confinement, where anytime I think I'm happy, I quickly fall into depressed. Like, I was having a good night the other night, and now for the last 2-3 nights, I haven't really been sleeping. Life hasn't been really that great, because I can't go anywhere, and I've kind of locked myself in my room. Like, I actually locked myself in my room. I have a lock on my door, so when I want to be alone, I lock the door so no one can come in. And I kind of sink into my hole of YouTube videos and not being able to communicate. I don't want to communicate. I don't want to see people. I don't want to do things. I have no interest in doing things. I don't want to go to school. I don't have interest in doing the work. I I don't have interest in life. That is my current state because of the pandemic. And you're probably like, well, other people are having worse than you, so shut up. At least you get a place and you haven't gotten the virus. I don't go and judge people who got the virus or who have it bad or don't have it bad. When I talk about what's been going on because of the virus and how it's been affecting me, I'm talking about my point of view, my experience with all this, not to go and tell people how to live their life. And most people don't see the fact that I'm basically calling out for help. Because I really am not happy. It's hard to be happy when the closest thing you have to seeing someone is a phone call or a FaceTime or a video chat or 3 hours in a school classroom online on a Zoom call. After a while, things just fall apart and you lose interest. I mean, that's what happened to me. I thought this would be the greatest thing to happen to me. That I wouldn't get affected by it. Because after all, if it's affecting someone else, why would it affect me? That is the stupidest logic that I think I've ever thought of. And I realize now how stupid that is. Because the moment schools closed, just like that, my life fell apart. And it's fun how, not fun, it's interesting how, this is how much life hates me. So I was struggling before the pandemic. I wouldn't go to my classes. I hated school. Just didn't want to be there, so I would leave earlier. I would skip classes. Somehow I still managed to pass my classes. I'm not sure about how I managed to do that, but nevertheless, I wasn't a great student. Somehow, I didn't want to be in school at the time. And then I started showing up and getting used to it all and getting into the swing of things. And I was just getting back to normal life. Then I get the email. Class is done. Nope, classes are canceled for 2 weeks. Then everything's going online. So you're telling me the day I started enjoying being at this campus, being in this program, all hell broke loose and things closed. Yeah, that seems like my normal strain of luck. I hate life. Life threw the biggest curveball at me and was like, yeah, well, now you don't get nothing because you pretty much just suck right now. And then the pandemic happened and everything got worse. And now I don't know what to do with myself. Because currently, in this point of time, I want to film stuff, but at the same time, I don't want to film stuff. I feel happy, and I feel good, but at the same time, I feel awful, and I don't feel happy. I feel depressed, very depressed. And it shifts, and it moves between happy and sad, I could be happy for a day, and then instantly go down. And it seems like anytime something bad happens, my life goes from happy to sad. I'm not sure if that's like that with other people, but I know for me it's like that. And it's not the best feeling when you want to do something, like you have a passion for it, and then all of a sudden don't have an interest in doing it at all. I don't know why that is, or why it's happening, but it's not the greatest feeling ever. And there are times where I find it hard to go through life because of it. Because for a moment I'm happy and I'm functional, and the next time just and not functional. I don't know. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I will talk to you guys later. Yeah. Bye.